Sunday, the 17th, 2023. And let's take a moment to get settled. Welcome to Church of Healing Ministries. I'm Reverend Jamie. And let's take a moment to evaluate our holy temple, ourselves. So we're going to take a moment to breathe and relax and get situated. So I really want you to take some deep breaths and just start to analyze how you feel. Really start to take inventory. If there's any sort of energy impedance, tension, sore muscles, aches, pains, just really evaluate how your body's feeling and responding right now. I'm going to uncross my legs so I can let the energy flow. Energy and God work on a frequency, so we need to attune to that frequency so that we can communicate to God energy and allow the messages that God energy is trying to send us. Pretty important. So we have a lot to go over today. Let's go ahead and take a second. Just meditate and breathe. Even breath in, even breath out. Start with 4 or 5 seconds. Ah. 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 Now we say because that is the space between thoughts, and we want to clear our thoughts. It also resonates at 8 hertz tone, the same as your heart chakra. Your heart toroidal field is 5,000 times more magnetic than the brain. So when we can attune to what our heart desires, our heart's emotional frequency, to God's frequency, we can better listen like a radio and tune in to what is trying to be transmitted to us. These are the secrets that most people have to study a lifetime to understand, and what they don't teach you in conventional churches. But we're going to tune our holy temple, receive those messages, and look at things from a different perspective. So still take some time and breathe, releasing any tightness in the face, in the shoulders, where we hold a lot of weight on our shoulders. From the legs, calves, feet, hands. You don't have to smile. No one's watching you. You don't have to mask today. Get some coffee if you need to. Just get to a place where you're super comfortable, relaxed, happy, in tune with gratitude, love, light. Because that's where God lies. That's where we're able to tune into that frequency. To add one more step, we're going to imagine a white light coming into our hand. So any energy that's around us, we're going to bring it into our hand from the elements, the wood, the cement, the crystals in your phone, whatever energy that you can muster, grab it and throw it in your hand. And we're going to attract it and we're going to magnify it. So we're going to breathe in that energy. We're going to magnify it through our body, amplify that love, and exhale. So we increase the space of love around us. And you can do this at any time of the day when things get stressful. Just sit there and breathe. And if not for yourself, for others. We don't need to engage with negativity. Mm. Let the stress just melt away. Ah. Just be able to sit in your thoughts and welcome whatever it is that God energy has to tell you today, whatever messages that you need to hear today. Oh, engulf that love and light, live in that space of gratitude, hold on to that feeling, because that feeling is what magnifies, what amplifies, and what attracts. So we're going to attract this feeling of gratitude, this feeling of love, this feeling that we can amplify at any point in the day. When we're feeling down, when we're feeling depressed, when we're feeling anxious, just take a moment and breathe it away. And as we come into that space, we're going to hold on to that. We're going to hold on to that and know that feeling that we feel, that emotion. And we're going to try to get to that again when we're feeling some sort of dis-ease in our life. So instead of feeling dis-ease, we're going to attract love and light. Um, for me, it instantly calms the belly, any anxiety, any sort of bad feelings. It just instantly melts all the way away. So welcome. Welcome to Church of Healing Ministries. Once again, I am Reverend Jamie. This is Church of Healing Ministries online, Calm online. Take an hour out of your Sunday to join us and be happy, be well. We're going to make sure that we have those birds in the background, give us a piece of serenity throughout the day, throughout the sermon. Not too loud. All right. Welcome, welcome. All right. Welcome, IG. Welcome, Facebook. Welcome, YouTube, and all of the other places on the Instaverse, Insta Metaverse space net thing. Where you can go to church in your PJs and drink coffee or tea or alkaline water or whatever it is that you want to put in your system. All right, so we have a lot to cover today. Oh, how is everybody? I hope everybody's well. Thanks for joining. I didn't even really get to the nutritional aspects of things on this sermon. We will go into a little bit, but I thought I was going to dive into it more and give you more nutritional help with what is available for the tools right now and the days that's upon us. But unfortunately, my time has been run very thin. I did not even get to the video last week, and I am annoyed with myself, but accepting and tolerant because we all can only do so much. So thank you for being here. We've had just amazing technical difficulties. So I appreciate your patience. I really do. Let's see, fingers crossed that today we'll be able to get this on the YouTube page. And either way, we're just not going to stress about it. So today is September 17th. We have a few things going on, but the general theme is renewal, new beginnings. Today we have Rabi Awwal, which is the third month on the Islamic calendar that's used to represent the start of spring. Now, the day gets pushed back 10 days every year, so Muslim dates cannot really be celebrated for a season per se. So in the same month, Prophet Muhammad was born and died. Many Muslims celebrate his birthday and consider it a joyous time. However, the Quran and the Sunnah really don't support these annual celebrations. Birthdays were kind of a Western concept. So that celebratory thing doesn't really resonate in the Quran and Muslim tradition, as many Muslims still celebrate, although it's kind of, again, more of a Western thing. Birthdays are from a Greek history, and they stem around the cake, which is a honey cake, a round honey cake, to pay homage to the moon god. And so blowing the candles out not only is not something that is done in many cultures, but it's not very hygienic. You actually get 14 times the bacteria on the cake by blowing it out. So in Muslim tradition and Muslim culture and Muslim belief, this isn't really something that you need to do, because not only is it not healthy and not good for you, it is extra celebratory that is not like sanctioned in the Quran. So basically, to teach us to be joyous without being gluttonous. You can be thankful and give homage in your heart without being gluttonous. We also have, and that starts this month. So this September 17th starts a whole month until October 15th at the end of the month. Now, we also had Rosh Hashanah, which was the evening of the 15th, and it ends tonight, the evening of the 7th. So the 15th through the 17th. And this is the Jewish New Year. And it was the last weekend starting on Friday and ending today, celebrating the creation of Adam and Eve. So it's basically starting a new world, a new planet. And they believe that it's been 5,784 years since the creation. And Rosh means head, and Hashanah means year. So we have the head year, the first of the year. And then when they blow the ram's horn, which is called the shofar, it is to celebrate bringing creation. There's 3 different types of sounds that they make with the horn that brings about different vibrations that are said to bring forth new beginnings. So when we're resonating, this is that moment where we're like, okay, vibration and intention meet creation. And that's kind of where this tradition comes from. They also have honey cake, the honey cake is to give to friends and also internalize the sweetness to be able to share it with friends and family. So interesting spin on the same thing, right? Now, joy is the emotion to inspire for the next 10 days. And the book of life is said to be not just a book of all of the things that you've done, but every year they ask to be put into the book of life for another prosperous year, to be able to be kept in a healthy year. So be put in the book of life to be kept healthy. This all isn't given without work. So in order to be able to work, you have to be able to feed your body properly. Their tradition includes dipping bread in honey and also dipping an apple in honey to give a prayer for a sweet new year. So we also see that honey is very cleansing and healing. It's antimicrobial, as long as it's Manuka honey with 10 UMF or higher. And then we also have apples. So the nutritional content of apples and enzymes are so healing to cells when your cells are damaged. So when you're gone through the hospital or have had some sort of gut dysbiosis or something that really has hurt you internally and your organs, juicing with green onion and carrots will give you the nutrient content that you need to be able to heal. And so that's what this is kind of about, restructuring yourself so that you can heal and be able to internalize and analyze what the last year has done for you. We're reaching in that kind of descent into the dark underworld of really analyzing your internal self. And this is really the time of year to accept the reset button when we start to take, like I said, that introspective journey into the fall and winter seasons. Really start to envision what you want to create the next year. So we're going to go into fall and winter on this vision. So when spring comes, we have a new vision for future with new possibilities that can bring positive growth and spring up. So that's why it's this whole new beginnings is a theme today. And ironically, it's also National Back to Church Sunday. So that's to say that to really come back to your center when you may have been really stressed, gotten off track with diet, maybe didn't really believe in church and what they had to say, so you just fell away from God entirely, which is super understandable. But today is a day where we're going to reach out to those people that may either have never been to church or went to church and didn't had a bad experience. This is a time to welcome. So go ahead and take a moment to share this live with somebody that you feel has the desire to get centered again, but doesn't really know how or where to start or what church to really go to. This is kind of an open understanding on how to analyze the context of the meaning of the words without really judging people for their actions. We're also going to get into that today. So maybe you've never been introduced or you're weary of people that have been in church. Now, this is a place where you're supposed to learn, not feel bad. Now, if you've ever felt bad or manipulated at church, for one, my extreme empathy is because that's not what God is for. Two, everybody has a different idea of what church is and what church could be. So I'm going to keep lagging a little bit while you take that moment to really share this with somebody. Like, subscribe, do all the things. And this is really going to give some insight on how we treat people, as well as some just basic instructions for renewal. And not only renewal for yourself, but renewal in your relationships with people. And again, here at Church of Healing Ministries, all are welcome. We try to steer away from gender stereotypes. We use more of feminine and masculine words to describe people's feelings and how they are as a human, not necessarily the gender box we put them in. I know that's really forward and liberal, but who cares? I kind of think trans human people are more close to God not really having a set gender, as God doesn't have a gender, just works in frequency, emotion, vibration, and love and light. Which brings me to Constitution Day, where we could shed a little bit more love and light on some of the policies that are going on. It is today observed on the 18th. So speaking of birthdays and new starts, today we celebrate the second birth. I'm going to say second because the United States as we know it today and the signing of the Constitution. I say second again because we were not here first. You can't say first to a place that's already here and already had things established like cities and mega cities. And we'll just leave it at that. So it was already here, but today celebrates a day that we developed policy and administration for living together and mitigating dangerous people and actions. That part is really important. So, regardless of what you feel about the environment of America right now, how it started and the original intent, along with the tools that we have to reference that, are really important, especially right now. So if you've never read the Constitution and you're in America and you think you have a bunch of rights and everything, read the Constitution and know exactly what your rights are, know exactly how to implement them, and you'll be able to see when people are trying to take them away. Caveat. Now, this is what the Constitution was originally to make sure, that everybody was treated fairly and that good decisions were being made in policy. Today's also used to be known as Citizenship Day, as well as I Am an American Day before that. So you can kind of understand where the evolution has led to be more inclusive. Constitution Day is really what it says, the date of the Constitution. It doesn't really make everybody a citizen, and it doesn't really make everybody an American, right? So today's really just about the Constitution. So they brought it back and named it Constitution Day back in 1953. Why? How I remember all this stuff, I don't know. I just do. It's ridiculous. I have so many random fun facts in this brain. Don't get me into a conversation. My nerdism will go off. Now, the Constitution replaced the Articles of Confederation and includes the Bill of Rights, which are the rights of the humans that live in America. And this is where we start to develop the federal government to have power over the three branches of government: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And it helps give an idea of what it means for us as Americans to be free and what limitations it holds, as well as who's responsible for when something tragic happens. Now, this single document is in charge of so much freedom and happiness, but it also defines and limits the government to prevent arbitrary rule. Again, right now would be a great time for you to read your Constitution to figure out what rules they cannot make arbitrarily, kind of like taxation without representation, right? Just willy-nilly, like just because they want to, and pass things in the middle of the night, real sneaky. I think there was one bill they passed that was like 6,000 pages, and they submitted it like 11:59, the night before everybody was supposed to vote. So many people don't really, and this happens often. So when this happens, a lot of people don't get to read 6,000 pages in less than a couple hours before the hearing. Thankfully, some people do. And that's where you're able to really have that balance of power and balance of structure, because wherever there's a loophole, major corporations will lobby to find it and exasperate that loophole to make it a big hole in our economy as well as our democracy. So I highly suggest reading through the Constitution a few times with all the amendments and the Bill of Rights so you truly understand what the terms of service are here in America. Yes, the TOS, the terms of service for being an employee of the Incorporated United States of America, and the republic for which it stands for. So we see the Constitution is also why the Constitution is also differentiates between state rule, federal rule, and cities within that state can all have contrary understanding and laws compared to federal law. When the Constitution started, each member of the U.S. House of Representatives represented about 57,000 people. Now, at the current moment, the House of Representatives currently represents over 750,000 people. So this isn't exactly an environment that the Constitution was originally set up for, which makes us an extreme democratic outlier worldwide. Now, James Madison actually wanted to make sure that there was one representative for every 50,000 people. We clearly have gone very far from the original intent. A political system needs to be legitimate, to be stable, and people need to have the feeling that it's on equal playing ground, that everything's actually fair, and we can see who and we can see 2 out of the 3 current presidents lost the popular vote. That's 2/3. Now, we have issues like gerrymandering, where borders of voting and places get pushed in different ways to incorporate different people at different times for whoever it really benefits politically. We also have issues like 600,000 people in Vermont have the exact same say as the state of New York, which has 20 million people. And we have 5 men in the judicial system that basically voted that billionaires can spend as much money as they want on political campaigns. Plus, political parties do not have any repercussions in marketing when they lie in their campaign. And technically, we aren't supposed to have political parties. So this uneven power structure in our country creates a lot of distrust, a lot of wiggle room for money to take advantage of the political situations, and for people behind the money to never have any repercussions when it happens. Okay, that's not good. So when society has a lack of trust in their government, they tend to pull away and are less active in government. And right now, that's not what we need. We need more people that care and speak out and get involved and just to take over. So get involved in your city hall meetings, get involved politically, because if you're not, I guarantee you there's 2 people that you don't want in office doing it. You don't want who are trying to get there to get there. You want to be the one to do it. We need different options, and I can't be the only one locally. Thankfully, I'm not, and I've explored this arena more and more, and I welcome the fact that there's a lot of people that have a lot of open mind in local government. I've recently become a member of the ICMA local student chapter at California Lutheran University and the MMASC. So the ICMA is the International City County Managers Association, and the MMASC, it's more of managing California specifically. The ICMA is more international. So going to these meetings, I see people that are actually really caring. They really do care. They really want to get involved, but our bureaucracy is not so easy. I'm trying to figure out some research and development to turn plastic into trash. Now, the sad thing is, America is so slow. They're like, oh, yeah, it doesn't work. Oh, maybe we should try. Do we care? I don't know. Let's ask somebody. While over in Singapore, they're like, hey, let us help you figure out the parameters and scale this huge. So I'm going to be talking with people overseas to get this done because, well, we don't have enough people in government that want to make this stuff happen really quickly. So I welcome you today and going forward to be more active in your political local arena, please. Thank you. Now, with that being said, it's also National Women's Friendship Day. September 17th. I always love National Women's Friendship Day. I put a lot of effort into my friends, and I feel that this day we're reminded of how important our female and feminine friends are. They say that women that have, and feminines that have a tribe actually have better mental health than those lone wolves. I can totally see that. So the world has a lot of feminine energy that often gets dismissed and bypassed and pushed aside, which we need to be strong for each other. And as empathetic as a lot of females and feminines are empaths and have that nurturing energy. Some don't. Some are more masculine. That's okay. You don't have to resonate with this just because you were born one way. If you are a feminine and you have that nurturing energy, this is really to recognize those other feminines that put you up, that really help you keep that feminine energy and help balance that masculine energy. And we need to put each other up and remind each other that we are rays of light and that we are nurturers and that we are the embodiment and of love, and celebrate feminine friendships and hold them close, hold them real close. These are special and they're important. We also have today is Wife Appreciation Day. So just like our best friends, your spouse should be your best friend. So we have Wife Appreciation Day. In statistics, they have compared that the feminine at home taking care of the house is equal in energy-wise to a 2.5 full-time jobs. 2.5 full-time jobs just for taking care of the house and the kids at home. Yeah, guys, so yeah, just to let you know. So when you come home from work, having a moment is cool. But to not do anything to help out at the home and give your wife that moment, not cool. Me and my partner have every 25th is the September 25th is when we met. So our 4-year anniversary is coming up. And we celebrate every 25th of the month. We take one day out of the month and go have dinner, go have a date, go spend it with each other, be very attentive to each other. And it is so precious to us. And it has been a lifesaver in our relationship. So when we give that energy as a feminine, it's exhausting to keep doing it and not have it received, right? Not get that moment to readjust. We can't keep giving as a feminine, as a nurturer. So it gets twice exhausting to continually love and love and love and just kind of get the bare bones back. So just remember today, one day at least for your wife, your partner, your spouse, your lover, your companion, your confidant, just make sure that one day you can figure out how to make their day a little bit better. And this last weekend, we had Clean Up the World weekend. Yeah, I know, difficult job. I'm trying to do it. It's the third weekend in September. I really wish I would have got to the other video, and kind of told people about this weekend last weekend. But if you didn't get a chance to celebrate or acknowledge Clean Up the World weekend this weekend, go out and just pick up 5 pieces of trash that you see randomly. Just pick them up, throw them away. Except, be safe, be smart. If you need to use something to pick it up, do that. If it's, don't be putting yourself at risk to heal the planet. It doesn't really work that way. Please do what you can. The rest of the week, you still have time. You can pick up this trash. You can plant some gardens. You can clean up in ways like stop using pesticides. That's a way you can clean up the planet, is you just stop using pesticides. You stop using synthetic NPK inputs in your farm or garden. You just start this loving energy to create a more fulfilling environment. Maybe start a compost bin today, or get yourself a reusable cup that you can use at Starbucks, that I really highly recommend stop going to. But this is a loving feminine energy right now that we're coming into, and the descent into that introspective world. So we're start turning into the feminine side, nurturing, and doing so, loving your partner, treating them with appreciation, loving your planet, treating with appreciation. And then you can learn to do it to yourself, because we need to lead by example, right? No one's going to treat us better than we treat us. I mean, why would they? So this week we have Constitution Week. We also have National Farm and Ranch Safety and Health Week. So if your soil is unhealthy, that means that it's not safe for the rest of us. So make sure you get your soil tested, you get your water tested. Now, there was just something in the news. A child died from playing in a water pad in Arkansas, I believe. And there's been 7 reports across the country of people that have died from an amoeba brain-eating bacteria. This amoeba crawls into your brain space through your nose. So they have either dunked their head underwater or have used a neti pot. Yeah, And this amoeba has traveled up, causing brain-killing inflammation and infection that deteriorates and kills your brain. So people think I'm crazy for using filtered water for literally everything. This is a great example of why. Now, farmers, if you are not using filtered water on your crops, you can understand how this is an issue. And if you, it might be expensive to install a filtration system at first, but imagine losing a whole crop because you had an amoeba bacteria on your plants that started killing people, and then you had to pay repercussions. So you know what? Let's just do what's smart in the beginning and not have to worry about human health issues later. I rest in peace to the 7 that have passed. There was a 12-year-old that was actually hospitalized for 55 days, but ended up making it out alive. So we really need to look at how we farm and ranch with health and safety in mind, not just for profit. So that's this whole week, the 17th through the 23rd, as well as Indoor Plant Week. Yay! This is a moment where PureGen actually gets to have a little bit of a plug. If you have a green thumb, I'm sure it's nothing new, but if you have a brown thumb, then you're probably going to need a little help in this area of indoor planting, indoor gardening, and small plant garden for that food freedom, right? To create food that we eat, to grow food that we eat. This is why I've actually created a company that sells seed bombs, that we're working on a gamified system so that you can earn points in case you don't have the money right now to really get into gardening, or you don't have the financial means. We're trying to create, we're working on it, the website's not done yet, but a way to interact with other regenerators, learn things, and go through even a soil school that helps build knowledge and earns points that you can turn in for free products, seed bombs, as well as soil amendments and just soil itself. So we really want to get people being able to garden, as well as these seed bombs are custom. So you put in your growing environment and growing ability, as well as your food preferences, including flowers that we eat. Yes, we eat flowers. So you can have an array of flowers, edible plants, fruits, and vegetables in a seed bomb growing in a way that is a companion planting. So we analyze your soil, your growing environment, the type of food that you'll actually eat and want, and put that all together in a magic seed bomb that will grow no matter what, because it has everything it needs. It has compost, it has fertilizer, it has beneficial mycorrhizae fungi, it has clay and soil to protect the seeds, and they're able to grow. One actual seed bomb that I have all the time is called the Three Sisters. It's corn, squash, and beans, but we've modified it so that it's spaghetti squash and peas. So you can have corn, peas, and spaghetti squash, which is a whole meal. So just in one, it is seen bombs for regular plants and herbs, or is it just regular plants like fruits, vegetables, and stuff like that? Absolutely herbs, all edible plants that we can grow, either in a backyard garden, urban garden setting, balcony garden, anywhere where you have a very limited garden space. We're going to be able to grow at least 3 different plants in one area. So you can imagine we have a lot of educating to do. We also have a lot of work to do. I've been working on this project for about 2 years. Now, the seed bombs are actually available per purchase on Etsy right now, and they're probably going to get the Shopify website up by the end of the week or so. So stay tuned, because we've made indoor gardening, container gardening, actually super fun and easy with companion plants and that are soil regenerative. So with that Three Sisters blend, the corn acts as stability for the peas that are nitrogen fixing. And then the squash covers the ground and keeps it moist and cool. So they all have this beneficial growing quality. And there's one community that they started analyzing who lives to be 100. And there's a few communities, but one of them in particular grow just this particular Three Sisters blend and have lived to be 100 years old. Arizona doing seed bombs for fruit and trees, What Africa? Yes, Africa and India. These are seed balls. Now, the thing is that Pure Region, the company that is started, that has pure seed bombs, is very custom. And I got the idea from what they're doing in the great efforts of Africa and India for regenerating the planet with these seed bombs and turning desolate, deserted land into fertile green pastures. Excuse me. And that's kind of where it originated from. But we've modified it so that it's very personal, that even the soil that is compiled with the seed bomb is specifically formulated for the type of seeds. So some seeds need loomy soil, some plants need sandy soils, some plants need more clay soils. So we analyze it and then be able to compile the perfect seed bomb to give it just what it needs to survive. Oh, we just had some comments. Not Arizona, but yes, Africa, fruit trees, edible things. Basically, I am compiling everything that's in these seed bombs are edible. So herbs, flowers, vegetables, fruits, and it just depends on your particular growing ability and your personal taste and preference, really. But those are out on Etsy right now. They're also native to your location. So we're not going to be planting random things that aren't native and actually hurting the local soil. We're planting native, organic, non-GMO seeds to really give you a little bit of food freedom and to learn how to feed yourself regardless of what happens. So I didn't get too much of a chance to go into and give myself what I needed to for apple, fig, whole grains, and rice month. But I will say that apples are known to help regenerate. Figs are known to help restructure. Whole grains are known to help revitalize your mood. And rice actually helps sustain and carbs. So there's lots of reasons why those particular foods are highlighted this month. But unfortunately, I didn't get a lot of time to go into it. We have still a lot to cover, unfortunately. So not a lot, but we're going to get into the Catholic readings a little bit. The Catholic readings today is Genesis 50, 15 through 21, Psalms 103, 1 through 2, Romans 14, 1 through 12, and Matthew 18, 21 through 35. No wonder we see something from Genesis, because that's kind of going back to the beginning. Oh, growing apricots. Yes, growing apricots is very beneficial. And there are a lot of varieties that are good for all over the country here in America. Very, very beneficial. Apricots and apples, I think, are on the same level of benefit. The enzymes from the apple, juicing one green apple and 3 carrots can actually help heal from a lot of intestinal diseases. So you spend like a month juicing and you can really reset your gut biome, give your body what it needs, help your skin and nails fight any sort of bacterial infections. Really, really great. And apples are great all over. Actually, technically, they're not native. They're actually technically brought over from Europe. But lots of ways to incorporate fruits and vegetables in these seed bombs. Now, in these readings, we really see a message of how to treat each other. And this is basing off that new beginnings kind of overall arcing theme for today. We're taking that introspective look and we can analyze so that when we're angry about something, we really analyze what we're angry about and what the outcomes really were. Now in Genesis 50, 15 through 21, this shows us with Joseph and his brothers. So there's a huge backstory that I'm not really going to get into, but I'm going to read this as fast as I can to kind of give you an understanding of what I'm talking about. Now, when Joseph's brothers saw that his father was dead, they said, "What if Joseph holds a grudge against us and pays us back for all the wrongs we did to him?" Uh-oh. So they sent word to Joseph saying, "Your father left these instructions before he died. This is what you are to say to Joseph. I ask you to forgive your brothers the sins and the wrongs they committed in treating you so badly. Now please forgive the sins of the servants of the God of your father." When their message came to him, Joseph wept. So his brothers then came and threw themselves before him, say, "We're your slaves. We're forever indebted to you because you forgave us." But Joseph said to them, "Don't be scared. Am I in the place of God? Like, am I not a loving person, right? Do I not have empathy? Like, I get it. You're human. You're my brothers. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done. Like, what's now being done is good because of your actions. So because you had negative intent, it actually spiraled positive events. What? So then and because of that, it's saving many lives. So then don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children." And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. Would we do this to people that are like trying to kill us? Right? This is a great example of why we don't let fear run our life, why we cannot predict the outcome. We can't think that we're all knowing. This is why we shouldn't stress the anxiety, the fear, the depression. It's unneeded. It's unnecessary. It's a good time to reflect new beginnings and new intentions of the people around you, because you have to allow other people to grow. They have to feel like it's okay to make mistakes and mess up once in a while and learn from them and evolve towards a path of pure love. Because when you respond in pure love, people then see that by that example that you're living by, and then they can do it. But if they've never seen it, they can't do it. So you got to be that example. Now in Psalms, we see David. Earlier this year, we had lessons on the mind and the physiology of the brain, and how the Bible speaks in metaphors with the 12 cranial nerves and the 12 disciples. David was part of the 12 cranial nerves and the disciples that didn't allow things and was kind of a denier of negativity and believing that you can go into a cave with a lion and be fine. Remember that story with David and the lion where he just walks in, they think that the lion's going to eat him alive, and he's like, "Hey, have you seen my new pet?" He's really big. Like, you can't expect those kinds of outcomes when you're put into a really challenging, bad situation. Now, and he's also the one that didn't believe that the bad outcome was going to happen when the king brought him to be jailed. What ended up happening? He ended up sitting next to the king and sharing dinner with him and having servants bring him food and wine. And he ended up celebrating with the king and not being in jail. Right? Like, you couldn't expect that kind of an outcome unless you don't subscribe to the outcome that is trying to be impressed upon you. When you deny, "No, I don't want that outcome," we don't have to accept it. Now, that's what this metaphor is teaching us, that this song, Psalms 103, 1 and 2 says, "Praise the Lord, my soul. All of my inmost being, praise his holy name. Praise the Lord, my soul, and forget all of his benefits." What this is trying to impress upon us is that, yeah, live in love and light. Know that things are going to be okay. Love regardless. And don't worry about how it's going to benefit you. That's not what it's for. That's not the intent. Right? When you pray, the intent isn't to get something back. It is to acknowledge, repent, grow, and meditate on how to be better, right? Not to be like, "Okay, well, I'm going to do this because it's going to benefit me, and I'm going to be super better because I did this." Super self-serving, not exactly the intent. And this is a reminder that you're not supposed to latch on to what God energy can do for us, but just be thankful and live in gratitude and living in love and light and not worrying about the positive benefits that you're going to get from it. Just do it. So this year, if you've had more fear than love in your everyday interactions, it's time to take that introspective look to see how your core beliefs and thought processes affect your relationships with your girlfriends, your spouses, how you treat your wife, how you have relationships with other people, and how you react to other people in the past. It's that time of year. Buckle up. Now, the Roman verse is really teaching us how to accept each other, regardless if you're vegan or if you followed a Muslim faith, or if you decide to do something totally different than what your neighbor is doing, and not judge and just accept and live in love. And even if they don't have the faith that you have, or at all, let's say they have no faith, they have no belief system, really, it's not really your place to judge. And it's taking another look on what our beliefs and how we treat people. It's kind of a long paragraph until we get to the bottom. So if you need to get something to drink, or if you don't really like the Bible readings, now's that time to go to the bathroom or do whatever you need, because it's a little bit long. And let's see, this is Romans 14, 1 through 12. So bear with me. But it's a really good example. It gives a really, really great example on how to live with people that trigger you. It starts out, accept the ones whose faith is weak, without squirreling or disputable matters. One person's faith allows them to eat anything, but another whose faith is weak allows only vegetables. The one who eats everything must not treat with contempt the one who does not. And the one who does not eat everything must not judge the one who does, for God has already accepted him. So who are you to really say anything, right? Who are you to judge someone else's servant? To their own master, servants stand for all, and they will stand, for the Lord is able to make them stand, right? So basically, when you live in love and light, when you have that ability to love, you're not going to respond in a bad way to somebody that has contradictory beliefs to you. You're going to be strong and standing in love regardless. Now, one person considers one day more sacred than another. Another considers every day alike. Each of them should be fully convinced in their own mind. Whoever regards one day as special does so to the Lord. Whoever eats meat does so to the Lord, for they give thanks to God. And whoever abstains does so for the Lord and gives thanks to God. For one of us lives our lives alone, and one of us dies for ourselves alone. If we live, we live for the Lord. And if we die for the Lord. So whatever we live or die for, we belong to the Lord. For this very reason, Christ died and returned to life, so that he might be the Lord for both the living and the dead. You, then, why do you judge your brothers or sisters? Why do you treat them with contempt? For we all stand for God's judgment seat. Quote, as surely as I live, says the Lord, every knee will bow before me, every tongue will acknowledge God. So then each of us will give account to ourselves to God. What is this saying? That was a long paragraph. So what is this saying? Like, when somebody is doing something in love and light, but it doesn't have the same actions that you believe that should be doing to live in love and light, it's not your place to judge, because they're living in light with God energy. And if they have love, it doesn't really matter their belief system, right? It matters about the intent and love. God is love, and love's already there. You have to really dive into what your core beliefs are to really be able to love people regardless of their age, regardless of their gender, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their race, regardless of where they live, regardless of their spiritual intent, regardless of anything. When you live in love and light, it's a lot easier to not let these things bother you. We don't need to be bothered all the time. We need to live in love and light. And in this case, let's see, because that affects our toroidal field, right? We don't want ourselves to be lowered with that and bring the universal consciousness down by being judgmental. In this case, we see in Matthew, it's very well spelled out what happens when someone keeps hurting you. What are you going to do? Right? You want to live in love and light. You want to be able to keep forgiving you. But when somebody keeps hurting you, and it's just that like one abusive person, right? Like you have that one abusive person that just wants to hurt you over and over and over again. And won't get out of your life and won't respect you enough to let you leave or walk out either. And this is the kind of example of how to deal with those kind of people so that we can elevate. Now, this is a lesson about the law of attraction and universal consciousness. So we see in Matthew, then Peter come to Jesus and ask, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? Jesus answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 70 times. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven is like a king who wanted to settle accounts for his servants. As he began the settlement, a man who owned 10,000 bags of gold was brought to him. Since he was not able to pay, the master ordered that he and his wife and his children all to be sold to repay the debt. At this point, the servant fell on his knees before him and said, be patient with me, he begged, and I will pay back everything. The servant's master took pity, canceled the debt, and let him go. What? Awesome. But when the servant went out, he found one of the fellow servants who actually owed him 100 silver coins, and he grabbed him and began to choke him. Pay back what you owe me. Kind of like a Bart Simpson moment, right? But his fellow servant fell to his knees and begged, be patient with me. I will pay it back. Kind of just what he just did, right? But he refused. And instead, he went off and had the men thrown into prison until he could pay the debt. So when the other servants saw what happened, they were outraged and went out to their master and told him everything that they'd seen and what had happened. Now the master called the servant and said, you wicked servant, he said, I canceled all your debt of yours because you begged to me. Shouldn't you have mercy on your fellow servants just as I had on you? In anger, his master handed him over to the jailers who to be tortured until he could pay back what he owed. Didn't really work in your favor, did it? This is how my heavenly Father will treat each of you unless you forgive your brothers and sisters from your heart. So I'm going to end with the greatest compassion and empathy and love really outweighs the possible negative outcomes that you could perceive. We're all connected. We're all living, being energetic creatures of God and love and light. So take today, we're going to recap new beginnings. Let's clean up the planet a little bit, take 5 pieces of trash, spend some time with your female companions and showing them love and appreciation, regardless if they're a friend or a wife or a spouse or your best friend. We're also going to be more involved in the political arena, with our government, our local government. And we're going to be getting that introspective look so we can be forgiving of others, right? Live in love and light. New beginnings for yourself, new beginnings for others around you. And this is just that time. We're going to have some fun this next couple months. Now, it's going to be really difficult. I won't be able to be here next weekend because it is my anniversary. And the weekend after, I will be out of town for a conference that is literally 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day for like a week. It's going to be exhausting. And I don't think I'll be able to get to the sermon next week. So thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. I want to leave you with feeling uplifted, supported, understood, heard, while giving you some direction on how to go forward and do that for others, even if they cause you pain, even if they trigger you, even if they don't believe what you believe. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you. Namaste. God bless. Blessed be all the things. Go out and be joyous to the world. And I will see you in 3 weeks. I'm going to keep trying to post some things on social media so you still have some understanding of the time and the season and how to be able to incorporate that into your intention and action for the next week. Thank you. I love you all, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.